Well, hello, welcome to our Tuesday Live. I'm Teresa Haag, and today we are going to be interviewing 25 Days artist Renal. Renal should be jumping on with us any second here. Hey, welcome. Welcome, everyone. Hey, Karen, welcome. So good to see you. So today we're going to be learning all about Renal and her work. It's really spectacular. She has a peacock that I actually drool over every single time I see a picture of it. And I'm hoping she has those available during the 25 Days of Minis, which I was just looking at the calendar and we're like 20 days away from the launch of 25 Days this year, which just seems incredible and impossible to me at the same time. Most of the artists that participate in the 25 Days start their work months ahead of time. And so we spend a good chunk of our year talking about the 25 days and participating in the work and getting ready. And so being in the home stretch just feels totally surreal. Hey, Michael. Oh my goodness. Hello. Hey, Reno. Okay, she's here. And I'm going to bring her on in a second. Come on. Okay, here we go. All right. She should be on any minute here.
Hi, Teresa. How are you?
Hey, Renal. How are you doing?
Good, good. So glad to join you.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
So I was just telling the viewers while we were waiting for you to come on that we are 20 days away from
Yes.
20. How did that even happen?
I know.
How are you doing? Are you done with all your work at this point?
No, I'm just starting and I'm excited, but I like to prepare ahead of time. Like, I create all my boards and everything ready. So it's halfway there. So
Yeah.
now that's the fun part. So everything, pre-prep is all done.
A lot of people don't realize how much work just goes into the getting ready of the surfaces and the boards. And
yes.
Yeah. Tell us, what is your process? What do you need to do to get ready to even start a piece?
So this year I'm doing a couple of things. I'll be working, I'm calling my new series as Upside of 2020. Ooh. And I think it was a fun experience in this unprecedented time. We got to bond with our family so much. We took long walks. We just bought the new house, so we explored the town, and I think we really appreciated nature much more than we normally did. Our lives were kind of slow, so I thought it would be fun to explore and that idea and create all the fun stuff we encountered this year. Of course, minus all that's going in the world. So here's what I did.
Yeah.
Let me give you a sneak peek. Let me see if I can flip the, there you go. So these are going to be my barley paintings. And I just created this board. It's a birch board. And this time around, I stained it. Let me show you just the stained one. And then I put the texture. So it's all flaky, and I'm going to paint my stories on this. I do this character paintings, and I try to tell the stories through them. So this is one of my bigger painting that I did. And as you can see, this was summer fun from last year. Yeah. So last year we went to outdoor concerts in Rose Tree Park Media, and that's the concert. Last year was the first time we went on boating. We like fishing. So it's the commemorating all my memories throughout the summer. So these are going to be same thing, but it's this year's memory. So these are the initial board that I got ready. If you can see them.
Yeah. So does that have texture on it? Oh, I see. That's the birch board that you started.
Yes, and I stained it with dark brown stain this time around. This is the first time I'm trying this technique, and then I'm going to put my texture, and it's going to be a clear one, so you can see the texture as well as you can appreciate the grades of the wood. So that's the plan.
Yep. Perfect.
Now,
is it just an acrylic? Is it just an acrylic medium that you're using for the texture? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes, and then I'm going to paint the whole thing with acrylic paint too. So it's going to be brown and white. And just once it's finished, it will have a lot of textures and So traditionally, these paintings are done as an outdoor decor for the walls. So I tried to mimic that stucco effect in this painting, so it will look more folksy but contemporary, and that's the try.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Now, tell us where the inspiration for the style of work that you work in came from or comes from.
I'm from India, and as a kid, I traveled a lot with my parents during summer breaks. And it was very fascinating to learn that every state has its own style of Indian folk art. And they were completely different. Some were extremely colorful, some were black and white, some were very primary, like, elementary looking, like premature styles, and some were very, very developed. Like, if you have seen Mughal art paintings and
Yeah.
all these miniature paintings are extremely developed. But then there were Madhubani paintings were very preliminary. The alphabets were very primary or premature looking figures. And so it always fascinated me as a child. And I learned through my travel and I started appreciating them. And now my works are inspired by a few of them. One of them is Varli, which is black and white, and it's a mural form of art in India, and that I translated into to tell stories about my day-to-day life, my childhood memories. And the another style I love is called Madhubani. Madhubani is very extremely colorful style of Indian folk art. It uses every color, and most of them are primary colors, which to me was very fascinating. Like, how too many colors work together. Like, normally people don't use that many same colors in one painting. So that's another thing that I use. I normally use them to portray my nature subjects, like birds and animals would be portrayed in that form of art. So the colors and everything it's very colorful, and to me it feels like I'm in the nature right now.
Yeah. So what materials are you mostly using for your work?
So when I work with colors, I use handmade paper. And let me so here's the one that's going to be one of the mini that I started working. So it's a handmade paper, and then I paint with acrylic wash on them.
Okay.
And it's right now it looks plain, but it's going to be very colorful. Like, let me show you some of my other color Madhubani style work. So this is a peacock.
I love this piece so much.
Yeah, you can see there's like so much colors going on, but it's going to be one of those styles this time around.
So tell us, so when you're showing us the peacock, there's so much detail in your work. It's amazing. I know I was watching you put together the wedding dress last year and seeing all the detail. Is this just teeny little brushes, or how are you instilling all this detail?
These are all brushwork. I normally work with 0. That's the highest I go is number 2. Like, I have a hard time 6. Like, this is my normal brush.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I
how
use a
long
lot
does
of zeros.
how long does it take you to do a typical piece?
Normally, like, depends upon how detail I go, but like, I'll say at least 6. If I'm doing 6 by 6, I'm at least it would be 8 to 12 hours of just putting details. The background and prepping and everything is separate, but just to work on those details is about I would say 8 to 12 hours minimum.
Wow. Do you work sitting down or are you standing up?
I sit down and work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you like to do while you're painting?
I love to listen to mystery.
Oh, like like the podcast mysteries? Which
I
one
know.
is your favorite?
Well, I just finished watching River.
Okay.
And I did Monk before. I like somebody talking. I can't, I know it's funny, but I can't paint with like beautiful music going in the background. I fall asleep. I need somebody constantly talking to me. And I feel like when they're talking, I'm trying to, avoid them, and I'm going in my zone. So it's just going in the background, but I need like nonstop.
Okay, so I have a question for you. I don't know if this happens to you too, but when I'm also like watching a movie, like in the background, or listening to a podcast, and I'm working on a piece, later on, well down the road, when I look at that piece, does it take you right back to what you were listening to?
Yes, it does.
So weird. It's like
I know.
permanently imprinted in that.
I know, it is so funny. Like I try, people are like, what do you like to listen? And I'm like, oh man.
It's like infused with all the mystery in the world from your mysteries.
I know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh, so I have a question for you. What do
Sure.
you think is like the biggest accomplishment you've experienced in your career as an artist so far?
For me, the accomplishment is not how big a piece is or how much I sold it for. It's just how much appreciation I get from that piece. Like a while ago, I made this yellow painting of poppy flowers and bumblebees, which was called Kiran. And the painting was bought as a gift for somebody for her 60th birthday by her best friend. And then best friend got the same painting for her friend. So now they have a twin piece to celebrate their sweet 60. And these are the moments that I cherish most, because this, I think, is an accomplishment too, you know, that people want me to be part of their life. People want my work to be part of their life, which to me, I think is very special.
That's amazing. What a wonderful like blessing that is that you get to be part of that.
Yeah.
So I guess, have you ever, like, do you have advice for other artists who are trying to get into the type of work that you're doing, like how for them to get started? And
most important is be yourself and have fun. And to me, like most of my work is, if I like it, people react in a similar fashion. So like I try to please myself. If you know, if I'm happy, I know that people will see that joy and it will translate, you know, whatever you're feeling. I personally feel that whatever I'm feeling, that it is translated in my work pretty well. And I think that is the most important thing. That's how you will create the connection. It's not about the style or how you paint. It's all about connection, and people are feeling joy. So be yourself, have fun, enjoy your work. Absolutely enjoy your work and have fun.
So good. So good. So in a minute, we're going to turn it over to questions for the people who are watching. So for anybody who's watching and wants to ask Renal, it's Renal, right? Am I saying it right?
Yes.
Okay. If anybody wants to ask Renal a question about her work or what you can expect from her, anything at all, and anything's on the table, go ahead and type that in. And while you guys are doing that, I'm going to ask, what are you most excited about over the holiday season and doing the 25 days show?
I love 25 days of minis. It keeps me on my toes, and I feel that I'm much more connected to my audience during this time of year. And you know, like they're always watching and waiting for my work, and I'm always there. It's like, okay, you know, I'm excited to present their work. You know, like today it's going to be peacock, and tomorrow it's butterfly. It's an exciting moment. In general, it's a holiday time. It's happy time, and yeah, it's fun.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. So Karen wants to know if you can show us one of your pieces and tell us the story behind it.
Sure. So let me show you this small piece. So this painting is called Celebration, and it's another one of my character painting that I do. It's Varley. It has the texture. I don't know if you can see it, but it has a lot of stucco, like softer stucco-like texture. And I try to play with the perspective in this painting. So if you see closely, there are couple of different perspectives within the same painting. Like here, you can see it's the square inside is me looking from, you know, is facing me. This is like bird's eye view. And then again, this is from the side. And the playing is with the shape as well. So square, circle, square. And this is a story I did for Community Arts Center as a live painting, and they were having jazz night. So there's a jazz player and there's a dance floor around. And then there's a lot of small stories happening within the plot, right? People are dancing in the corner. those shy dancers are here in the corner. People were having their own music. Kids with balloons. I love balloons and I love kids with balloons, so they have to be in my painting. But man, like small things like there's there's a squirrel running, there's birds, like small things, right? You notice that tiny small things that you miss, like otherwise you won't miss, is in this painting. There's a butterfly.
Where do you get all of the ideas for all of the different little tiny details? I mean, is this inspired by the art of the folk art from India, or are you creating them yourself, or where does that come from?
I create them by myself. It's most like I start with these paintings, I start with the subject and I start narrating story to myself. It's like so to me, these are like a novel writing. So I write my novel through this painting. So I start with the subject and I start thinking like what are the main things that I will associate it with this subject, and then I start telling the stories, and then I'll start filling in that small minor details that will make the painting more interesting.
That's amazing. It's incredible. I mean, the amount of detail, even just like the little squirrel and the balloons, I never would have, like, I've shown your work before and I've certainly seen your work before, but now just you walking us through it just brings a whole new level of life to them.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I feel that these are the small details that's what makes us more appreciate our surrounding, and keen observation about our nature and the community.
So true. It is so true. Does anybody else have any questions for Reenal? Please go ahead and just type them in right into the comments, and we can read those right now. And while we're waiting to see if anybody else has any questions, is there anything you want to share, Reenal, with us about you or your work or anything at all?
I am super excited for my new body of work. I've been experimenting a lot with the work lately. The recent work I started was I started again the character painting, but this time I started layering. So let me show you one of my piece that has a multiple layers. So this I'm calling humming. We do get a lot of starlings in our backyard, so that's what inspired me. And this is humming. So if you see, there are layers and layers of birds. It's just not topical layers. There's layers, and underneath there is another layer. And
that's incredible. That's incredible. How much time do you have into this piece? I'm so curious.
This was about so I visualized this piece last year, and it took me 4 rounds to even commit to this painting. So I tried one and it did not work as I envisioned. So I tried again. So this is my 4th piece, and I feel it's successful.
Yeah.
And it was about, I would say, 2 months.
Wow. The energy is fantastic, and just the way the composition is just driving you in, and it just it's incredible. Incredible work.
Yeah, like Varley's typically this Varley paintings I paint 2 or 3 a year, because again, as I said, it's a the way I treat this painting is as if I'm writing a novel. So it takes me a lot of time to just create and store in my head even before I translate them.
Yeah, as soon as you said that earlier, I write my novel through my painting, I wrote it down. I was like, that's our quote. That's our quote for this interview. It just sums it up so nicely, and it's such an interesting perspective for, I think, other people who aren't artists, who don't necessarily understand how work comes to life. And not every artist approaches their work that way, but it really does make your work make even more sense, and really helps me connect better to it, to understand that it really is just a story. It's your story.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, Reenal, thank you so much for joining us today. I cannot even tell you how excited I am for December 1st to see your work come to life
Yes.
on the 25 Days of Minis. For anybody who wants to check you out beforehand, where can they find you?
You can go to my website. It's www.renalparikh.com. And I do have a lot of videos in progress and through the paintings on my YouTube channel. So you can find me there as well.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for coming to
Thank you
visit
so
us
much.
today. I'll see you
It's so
soon.
nice talking to you.
Bye, everyone. See ya.
Bye.